The hump that changed aviation forever. It's the most recognizable curve in aviation. The hump of the Boeing 747. From runways to the clouds above, that bulge has become an icon of flight. But what if I told you it wasn't meant to be there? That strange bump wasn't designed for beauty or comfort. The hump was born from a compromise, a technical fix, a last-minute solution for a plane no one expected to survive the decade. Because in the late 1960s, the future of air travel was loud, fast, and supersonic. The Concorde was coming. Subsonic giants like the 747, they were already considered obsolete. So why did Boeing risk it all? Its money, its reputation, even its survival, on a design it thought would soon be irrelevant? And how did that awkward utilitarian lump on top become the crown of the Queen of the Skies? The story of the 747 isn't just about engineering. It's about risk, vision, and one of the boldest bets in aviation history, designed for a future that never came. The 1960s were the golden age of air travel, when flying was rare, glamorous, and outrageously expensive. But beneath the surface, a race was unfolding. Not for luxury, but for speed. Supersonic jets like the Concorde were on the horizon, promising to slash flight times in half. The future, everyone believed, belonged to sleek, fast, high-altitude rockets. Subsonic jets? Already outdated. So when Boeing announced it was building the largest passenger aircraft the world had ever seen, the industry laughed. Why build bigger when the future was getting faster? But Boeing wasn't betting on passengers. Not really. They were thinking ahead, far ahead. The 747 was designed first and foremost as a cargo aircraft. With its unique nose that could swing open to load massive freight pallets, Boeing needed to move the cockpit out of the way. The solution? Put it above the main deck. Just a bump. A necessary compromise. No one thought much of it. The bump that became a crown. That awkward little hump wasn't meant to carry people. On the first 747s, it was practically empty. Home to a small crew lounge, some avionics, maybe a jump seat or two. Its strange shape made it difficult to use and too expensive to ignore. But then, the airlines got creative. What if this unused space became something else? Not just a passageway, but a destination. Soon, the upper deck transformed into aviation's most exclusive club. Lounges, bars, and private suites for the elite few. Did you sit upstairs? Became a whispered badge of honor. Even when the lounges faded, replaced by lie-flat seats and business pods, the mystique remained. What started as a workaround became a crown in the sky, a symbol of luxury, of innovation, and of what happens when bold thinking meets bold design. Boeing's biggest gamble. By the mid-1960s, Boeing wasn't just an aircraft manufacturer. They were aviation royalty. The 707 had already reshaped international travel, but what they were about to do next was unthinkable. To build the 747, Boeing first had to build the largest building on Earth, a factory so big that clouds literally formed inside it. Inside these walls, over 50,000 workers, nicknamed the Incredibles, labored day and night. Welders, machinists, dreamers. Many left home, took second mortgages, uprooted their lives, for a project the world wasn't sure would even fly. Deadlines slipped, budgets ballooned. At one point, Boeing was bleeding so much money, employees wore pins that read, "Will the last person leaving Seattle turn out the lights?" This wasn't just a project anymore. It was a gamble that threatened to take the entire company down with it. And then, on a gray January morning, the impossible took off. It flew. Not just as a machine, but as a symbol. They didn't just build a jet. They built a miracle. They bet the company on a dream, on something the world didn't ask for. And they won. The plane that did the impossible. The Boeing 747 didn't just survive the supersonic age, it outlasted it. While Concorde struggled with cost, range, and noise, the 747 quietly conquered the skies. It flew farther, carried more passengers, landed in more places, and surprisingly, it was fast, really fast. The 747 remains the fastest subsonic airliner ever built, cruising at Mach 0.85. In 2020, one even crossed the Atlantic from New York to London in under 5 hours, rivaling Concorde speeds without the sonic boom. But the plane's real power? Its strength. In 1991, during Operation Solomon, a single 747 carried over 1,088 people, more than double its intended capacity. 2 babies were born mid-flight. The aircraft didn't just handle it, it thrived. It was a lifeboat, a lifeline, a miracle machine inside the analog heart. Before touchscreens, before glass cockpits, there was this: 971 switches, dials, meters, and lights. Every one of them alive with purpose. Everyone whispering a story. Flying the 747 wasn't just a task, it was a choreography. The captain flew the plane, the co-pilot backed them up. But the flight engineer, they were the heartbeat, the silent conductor of a mechanical symphony: fuel transfer, engine balance, electrical systems, cabin pressure, temperature, all managed by hand in real time. You didn't just push buttons, you listened. You felt the vibrations, the resistance of the throttles, the hum of the systems. The 747 talked to you, and if you paid attention, she'd tell you everything you needed to know. Today, 2 pilots fly even larger jets with half the effort and 10 times the automation. It's safer, more efficient. But something got lost. There was poetry in that analog world, a beautiful, messy human connection between man and machine. To sit in that seat wasn't just a job, it was a rite of passage. And for many, it was the proudest chapter of their flying lives. The superpowers of the Queen. The Boeing 747 wasn't just big, it was fast, and not just for its size. Decades after its debut, it still holds the crown as the fastest subsonic airliner ever built. In February 2020, powered by a raging jet stream, a 747 flew from New York to London in just 4 hours and 56 minutes. Subsonic speed, at supersonic pace, nearly as fast as the legendary Concorde. But speed was just one of its surprises. May 1991. As civil war threatened thousands of lives in Ethiopia, the world watched in silence. But one country acted. Israel launched Operation Solomon, a rescue mission unlike anything before it. In one flight, just one, 1,088 people were carried to safety aboard a single 747. More than double its designed capacity. A world record that stands to this day. 2 babies were born mid-flight, new lives beginning, as others were saved. This wasn't just an aircraft, it was a lifeboat, a lifeline, a machine capable of miracles, built to carry cargo, transformed to carry nations. Boeing didn't just build a plane, they built a symbol of scale, of strength, of what's possible when we dare to think big. A legacy written in the sky. What began as a temporary cargo fix became one of the most iconic shapes in aviation history. That hump, the one that was never meant to be there, wasn't built for beauty. It wasn't designed to impress. It was simply functional. A place to lift the cockpit so freight could slide in through the nose. Nothing more. It wasn't supposed to inspire wonder or carry passengers or last. But it did all of that and more. That awkward bump became a crown, a signature, a story you could spot from the runway or from 35,000 feet. It reminded us that boldness doesn't always look beautiful. Not at first, but give it time, and it just might redefine the sky. For over 50 years, that hump has carried presidents, refugees, astronauts, and maybe you. So tell us, have you ever flown on the upper deck or sat near the nose? Share your 747 story in the comments below. And if you love uncovering the hidden histories of the world's most iconic machines, like, subscribe, and come along for the next adventure. The sky is full of secrets. Let's find them together.